All right, and I believe the drivers are getting on to the racetrack, setting up for that rolling start. We'll go over to them, see what happens here as we are on board with VKG, pole position in the Viper. We got left just behind him, then SC, Metal, Papa, Vetterdan, Josh, then Fernando in the Ford. Here we go across the start-finish line. Green flag, we are underway, and I'm guessing we got a bit of a fuel saving from BKG as he loses out to SC and to left. We have a new leader left in the lead. BKG having a little PTSD from driving that Corvette around here and running out of fuel. We are on board with left, and now, no, SC, he's led a good bit of this race, and now he's back up in the lead. Metal pushing him ahead. That is a new race leader. Before the lap has even finished, we have two race leaders here. Metal now looking at potentially taking that Corvette, but he knows he needs to make the fuel last. That has been the... Oh, no! Metal washes out into the wall. That's a 1.5 second penalty. Oh my goodness, I don't know what happened there. Tessam, what are you seeing?
All right, so SC giving the slip to Vetterdan. Oh, sorry, no, Metal. Looks like he just washed out. I don't know. Yeah. I don't think he was necessarily going for a move, but yeah, that was a bit of a weird incident. Metal does elect to keep going, does not quite keep up with the pack ahead, so we'll see if he can try to get that Corvette back up to the pack. He's about 3 seconds behind after serving that penalty.
Indeed. Now Papa up into P2 looking at taking the lead. I think they just want Salamander to use his new graphic because it's so cool, because now Papa is our new race leader up there in P1. I'm surprised Metal didn't go ahead and take the Joker lap. He lost so much time with the penalty. He might as well take the Joker, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he thought he could stay towards the back of that pack after serving the penalty, but didn't just quite work out that way. We'll see what his game plan is from here on out. Still really, really early on in the race, so keep an eye on him, see if he can somehow claw that gap back.
Yeah, and I wonder if he had a disconnect. I'm not sure what his setup is exactly, but it did look like he just kind of went straight on for a second and had a little bit of issue there. So maybe he's dealing with some technical difficulties. We won't know until he tells us. Oh my goodness, here we are. Everybody moving up through the field. Fernando B up into P4. Josh Moment just behind him. They've been working together using that slipstream, and look at them go. Fernando B up into P3. Josh Moment into P4. Fernando's not done. He goes on the inside of SSD. SSD has to go out wide. That was 3 wide there for a second. Fernando Button going for the lead, and he gets the lead. That is a new race leader. No, Papa back up in the lead. Who is Josh Moment going to support, or is Josh Moment going to go up the inside? He does. He gets behind Papa. BHR teammates. No, Papa taking the Joker, but he bails out. He bails out. He's going to have to do it again. Papa's blinker was on, but could not get it slowed down. That puts Fernando Button into P1. Josh Moment into P2. STC P3. Oh my goodness, Papa bailed out. Let's take a look at this again. You can see he turns his turn signal on the brakes, realizes it's not going to work, and there he goes. He's going to have to try that again, which is good news for Metal. He might have a buddy after all.
Yeah, I couldn't quite tell, but I think Papa might have been a little hesitant to hit the brakes because he was being followed really closely. If he had to hit the brakes, he definitely would have gotten rear-ended most likely. We see VKG and Ecstasy attempting their Joker laps.
Ooh.
Oh, VKG into the wall does get a second-half penalty. Papa does complete his Joker lap as well, and Metal did complete his a few laps ago. We got a replay. So he gets it slowed down.
Up ahead, too.
But then, yeah, just slides going into the corner and just couldn't quite get it reeled back in.
So there might be a penalty for the driver ahead of him for cutting the chicane like that, but VKG definitely lost out on that one, so I don't think any additional penalties need to be assessed. Josh Moment in the lead. New leader with left just behind. Then we have Vetterdan, Fernando B, SSC, Metal, Papa, and VKG. So quite the shakeup there with these drivers. Josh Moment now leading by a healthy half a second. What happened to Fernando? He was...
I caught the very tail end of it, but he just completed his Joker.
Okay, and that explains why SSC has so much more speed. So Fernando's serving his Joker only in P5. That is not a bad place to be after serving your Joker.
Josh is taking his in P3. Takes his very cleanly.
Very beautiful Joker lap from Josh Moment. Now this is, in my opinion, where BHR has the advantage. They do stuff, I mean, not just like this, but they all know alternate routes around the track. So not surprising to see them do well, as Left is now our race leader in P1. This is his first race of the night. Very good to see him in P1. Still has not taken his Joker, though. So we'll see what he's able to do, or if he's even been paying attention, and maybe he just runs this normal. As Vetterdan, he tries for it. He goes deep. Not too bad of a cut. Gets it slowed down. Keeps it pointing straight. Get above the yellow line before you get reset. And you know what? That wasn't too bad.
Yeah, I think the stewards would mark that as acceptable.
Right.
I would give him a C- on that one.
Yeah, he passed it. He's not getting taken out for pizza or anything afterwards, but he passed. As we see SSC up into P2, Josh Moment not far behind. It's Dodge Vipers 1, 2, and 3 with a Ford in P4 and a Chevrolet in P5. You see Metal, pretty big gap between Metal and Vetterdan. We are on lap 10 of 40. All drivers will be having to pit. And gotta be honest, Metal looked good on fuel. He's halfway through the stint and he had half a tank of fuel. It seems like all his practice in these opening races has paid off. As we see Papa and VKG now working together, coming around in P7 and P8, bringing up the rear. Going back on board with our leader Left, who has a commanding lead, 11, almost 12 seconds, and he's taking the Joker. He's got the 11-second lead, and wow, that was a good Joker. That was
his first time going through. That was that was pretty good. That one I'll give him a B for that one. A little bit of a cut.
Oh. Yeah, a little bit of a cut, but look at that gaggle behind him. He's got 2 Bs and an S to C, and they go flying past, so you can really see how much time you do lose by taking that Joker, because it takes you so long to get back up to speed. And when you have a pack of 3 cars working together like that, I mean, they're just moving. Fernando B, our new race leader, going from last to first to all over the place to back to first. Looking fly, man. He's got his teammate, BHR teammate Josh Moment just behind him, and then SSC following there. And it looks like Left is looking pretty good. It doesn't look like Vetterdan's going to have too much overspeed, as Vetterdan goes way high up on the wall, avoids getting a penalty, and keeps it going. So Left looking good there in P4. How are we looking fuel-wise across the board there, Tussum? Anybody in danger of not making it to the halfway point?
I would say right now, Vetterdan, his fuel's a bit low compared to the other drivers. The remaining drivers are mostly around the same area, with the exception of Josh Moment, who has a bit more than everybody else. Most of the other drivers are sitting at just over about 3/8 of a tank, whereas Josh Moment, he's sitting just a few liters ahead of everyone else.
Okay, awesome. And Papa there in P7 with VKG. So, I mean, VKG using the toe. I know this isn't necessarily in his wheelhouse. He's more of a, a daily race B. Though he does like to set those good lap times on daily race A's. He does go for those top 100s. But we see S to C there taking that overspeed, trying to get ahead of Josh Moment and Fernando B. But Josh Moment able to stay in Fernando's slipstream just isn't going to work out for SSC as he gets a little bit of a wiggle. We're starting to see that tire wear now, that front right tire. We saw it in the last two races. At some point, a driver is going to go deep into the wall. It's almost inevitable.
Yeah, it's crazy to see the difference in the tire wear between the FR and the MR cars. If you look at Fernando B's tires, he's getting a little more wear on his right rear, whereas all the other cars, the Dodges and the Chevys, they're all getting most of their wear on the front right tire.
Right. All that weight in the Ford is over the rear wheels, and so applying the pressure when they hit these turns going full throttle, I mean, that's so much force on the outside tires where the weight is definitely going to cause the wear. As we see left's front right and Vetterdan's front right. That big Chevrolet V8 must be very heavy, as we see, which makes sense because of all the power it uses.
It's only a 6.2 liter V8. Nothing crazy.
Nothing crazy. Don't you worry about it. Indeed. You see Papa and VKG working together really good, trying to catch up to Metal and Vetterdan. Currently just over 5.5 seconds. Looking okay on fuel. We're at lap 16, almost lap 17. It's going to be whether or not they can continue to drive this close together. This is when it gets sketchy. There is a bit of dirty air, and you're starting to lose grip. So keeping it pinned close behind the car in front of you gets trickier and trickier, and it can result in the car behind spinning out the car ahead if they bump wrong at the wrong angle. But so far, so good between these two guys. And look at this. These, I mean, 3 in a row, looking like some ducklings, just marching down the Daytona tri-oval. If you were one of these 3 drivers, which one would you like to be? Up there in front, in the middle, or where SSC's at?
The middle is always scary because you gotta bump draft the car ahead properly, but then you also have to hope that the car behind bump drafts properly. I think S to C right now, he's got the best seat in the house. He's getting pretty much maximum fuel saving right now. Although, to be fair, I think looks like he has the least amount of fuel out of the cars ahead. Maybe not fully taking advantage of that slipstream, but yeah, if I were any one of these cars, I would much prefer to be in P3.
Indeed, and it does look like he's washed up a little wide into the turns, but now he's tucked back in, and it does get a bit sketchy. Looks like left, still in kind of no man's land as Vetterdan chooses to come into the pits. That's very early. He's going to have a tough second stint. He's going to be, well, you know what? He might come out with the leaders here. We'll see where he comes out. If he can come out with a buddy, though, whoever he comes out with is going to have to pit. So he kind of burned up all his fuel and now is going to have what I imagine to be a bit of a lonely race. Fernando B. Is he going in the pits? Fernando's in.
I was just going to say that, yeah, Vetterdan, he's definitely going to have a bit of a struggle to try to claw back some positions. We got Papa and Viking King coming into the pits. Vetterdan exiting the pits just as they came in.
Looks like Josh Moment running low on fuel. SSC potentially looking at taking the lead. SSC not looking great on fuel. Josh Moment, a new race leader there. as the strategies are starting to pay out. They will have fresher tires at the end of the race as well, and potentially have to take less fuel. As we see SSC, Josh Moment. SSC gets ahead of Josh as they enter the pits. However, Josh is going to need to take slightly less fuel as he has 8% left versus SSC's 2%. Left coming into the pits with no fuel, and it looks like who's coming out on top? We are on board with Fernando B, trying to catch back up and come out in the mix with these top drivers. We saw it happen last race with Papa on the first race, I'm sorry, where they had two different pitting strategies but still came out together. Where is Fernando going to be as Josh Moment, SSC, and Left, who doesn't quite take a full tank of fuel? And it looks like Fernando gets up into P3, but he should take the lead with his overspeed. Seems to me like if you can make the fuel last, the undercut is where it's at. What do you think about that?
Yeah, the driver's pitting a bit early. I guess it's the advantage that they have on the fresher tires that allows them to just have a bit of a faster outlet. So Fernando B, yeah, he's going to have to go a little bit longer on his fuel compared to those behind him, but the Ford GT, it seems to be, from what I can tell, it seems to be a bit more fuel efficient than the others, just running a smaller V6 compared to the V8s and the V10s of the other cars.
Indeed, yeah, it really does. Having the turbo, the eco boost, if you will, that was one of the big things on Ford, was having a more fuel efficient but still powerful machine, and it seems to be paying off for Fernando. Just a matter of if he can make it last. If SSC can catch up to Josh, they can work together to catch back up to Fernando. We go back to Metal in P6. He's got Papa just behind him. Papa making the move because Metal is clearly running a fuel map as he's barely getting over 206 miles per hour. Papa easily through. VKG just behind. And it looks like VKG's going to go up the inside. Oh, there was a tiny bit of touch, but it looks like everything is okay as VKG got a little bit low on the apron, gets by Metal, and allows himself to tuck back in behind Papa. That was a close call. So they are moving up the pack. If they can continue to work together, VKG and Papa have been closing by a second now to the leaders up there, now at 13 seconds. We're on lap 23 of 40, so plenty of time for them to catch up to the leaders. We'll see if Metal can adjust his fuel mapping a little bit using the slipstream to keep up with these two and march his way up front.
Fernando B right now, he's got almost a 2-second gap over Ecstasy, but Josh in P3 has caught up to the back of Ecstasy, so they're now going to be able to work together to try to claw that gap back from Fernando.
Yeah, the two Vipers working together, just a matter of keeping it clean, trying to catch up to Fernando B in the Ford, but it's looking good so far for Fernando. It's going to be, we've seen how hard it is to do that final overtake at the end of the race. I believe everybody's caught up to lap traffic, and it's made it a challenge to make that move. So as long as Fernando can keep himself ahead, he's got a good chance of winning this thing. Pulling a last to first. I would love to see that. Metal now getting a move potentially on VKG around the outside, unable to keep it low, going wide and having to tuck back in. Looks like Papa's pulled away from VKG a little bit. I'm sure he'll catch up at the end of this straight in the slipstream. Going 207, 208, 209 miles an hour now. Catches the back of Papa and pushes him along through the corner. They're doing a great job. Clean driving. You can see VKG kind of wobbling back and forth. It's hard to keep it straight through those turns at this speed. And look at that gap closing down. They are in the slipstream now. Ecstasy, Josh Moment looking to take the lead away from Fernando B. SSC going for it right now around the outside, and he is going to lose out, and that may allow Josh Moment. It does. Josh Moment in Fernando B's slipstream. They're going side by side as we're about to finish lap 26. If Josh Moment can keep it together, he's going to take P2. And there we have it. SSC being in your preferred slot, Tussum, kind of sit back and watch and see what happens.
Yeah, honestly, in that situation, STC, I'm not sure what his HUD looks like, but he should have realized he was in the middle of a BHR bread sandwich. And as soon as he pulled out to the side, Josh Moment took that option to give the bump draft to his teammate. So now they're running P1 and P2, and they'll be in control of this race, I assume, for the next few laps.
Indeed, Brigsby must be proud. I've seen him in the chat. Buzz, BHR trying to get a 1-2 in the final race of the first ever Joker Series. Y'all, if you don't know what this is, click that link pinned in the chat. It's going to take you to the website, tell you all about the Joker Series. Salamander has put in a lot of work for this, and it is paying off. I don't know about you, Tussum, but I've been having a blast tonight.
Yeah, it's almost making me regret doing comms for this race. It's looking like a lot of fun. I knew it would be fun, but I don't think many of us anticipated this much action.
Indeed. I did see, as VKG is going to take it away from Papa. VKG up into P6. I see C-Dubs say he was going to try to do comps for the next one if you want to get in on the racing action. So that's definitely an option for you. But this one, we did a good bit of testing here and a good bit of practice as we still have this three-way battle. We're first place, but BHR's able to hold on to it. I think you would have done really well here, Tussum.
Yeah, while that battle for the top three is happening, it looks like Vetter Dan in P5 is caught up to the back of left in that Viper in P4.
All right.
Vetter Dan, though, his fuel is a bit low. He's under the halfway point, like just under half a tank of fuel. So if he doesn't start fuel saving now, he's going to end up needing either a second pit stop or he's just going to run out of gas.
Indeed. And I mean, luckily he has caught the slipstream, so that will help. He can adjust his fuel mapping accordingly and just kind of, fuel save a little bit. But, he wants to get past left. Vetter Dan is a competitor, and he loves his Corvettes. He does not want to finish behind a Viper, at least directly behind a Viper, as he is set to finish behind three Vipers and a Ford. He's trying to make it as few Vipers as possible. And that's me trying to say Viper as many times as I can. BKG and Papa both in the Viper, coming around lap 31 of 40. So this, people have definitely figured this out. They figured out the strat. They still are liking to run that Joker series early. But we are seeing how the undercut is strong here. So pitting early, Joker lap early can play to your advantage just because of how much speed you have there at the end. As we look at Metal in P8, bringing up the rear in the Corvette, just under 2 seconds behind Papa and BKG. Don't know that with his fuel mapping where it's at. He is looking good on fuel, but with the Papa and BKG working together, I don't know how Metal is going to be able to catch them without burning up too much fuel.
I'm looking at the fuel tanks of VKG and Papa, and they are a bit on the lower side, just a little bit past the half tank mark. I think they might struggle a bit in the later portion of the stint. Might want to consider just saving a bit of fuel, whereas Metal, he looks like he's right on target, but just doesn't have the pace to keep up with those two working together.
Yeah, so that's the adaptability, figuring out how to work your strategy coming into play. SSC still sitting in P3. Happy to be there, I think, as Fernando B. I mean, if he wins this race, you can't argue with that. Last to first, driver of the race. But Josh Moment also not starting off too great, working his way through. So these drivers really showing how much time they have spent here at Daytona.
Yeah, I'm starting to think like if in this particular 1-2-3, if I were in Estacy's shoes, I would do my best to try to disrupt those two because those two are not going to be disconnected by anything, and it's going to be a struggle to try to overtake them without that slip. So I don't know. I think Team BHR, they might have this all locked up, and it doesn't look like there's going to be any lap traffic within the next few laps. So yeah, we'll see if Estacy has any tricks up his sleeve, but he's going to have to start thinking about that really soon.
Yeah, the battle for the lead is hot, and it looks like the battle for P4 is heating up as well, as BKG ahead of Papa now, all over the back of left. Vetterdan having fallen back, realizing his fuel not quite working out for him. So now BKG and Papa going to try to work together and get up into P4 and P5. Nice to see these two pockets of more than two cars battling it out here as we're about to start lap 36 of 40 there with our leaders. But BKG in P5 pulling Papa along, but just not quite close enough to left to make any moves just quite yet. It seems to have a pretty decent gap to Papa. So it seems like everybody's running some type of mapping or some type of strategy for fuel, as now BKG has caught left. So just like that, BKG pulled up behind left. Is he going to go for a move or stay there? Only time will tell.
So watching a battle for the lead right now and looking at Fernando B's fuel. I had mentioned earlier that Ford GT might be the most fuel efficient car, but he has the lowest fuel out of those top three, and it's actually getting close to a critical level with 4 laps to go. So I don't know if SSC is listening, but this would be his chance to attack. Fernando, I think he's going to have to start doing a little bit of fuel saving to make it to the end of the race.
I think SSC did react there,
Yeah, it looked like he did try to make a move there, but went a bit too far to the outside. Hopefully he can get a nice little slingshot after Josh gives Fernando that bump draft, so we'll see.
Yeah, look at SSC's tire. That front right, it has to be a challenge to keep that thing not understeering up into the wall. Josh Moment's looking slightly better. Fernando's front looks great, but that rear, you know, we could see a bit of a spin if a bump happens at the right time. Fernando going a little low, and now Josh Moment making the move on his BHR teammate. Now we have a new leader. Fernando Button not able to keep the traction. Josh Moment goes around the outside. Wow, that was unexpected.
Yeah, I don't know if they're in communications with one another, but that lack of fuel from Fernando is definitely playing a part now. I don't know, maybe he wanted to get behind Josh so he can save a bit more fuel just to survive to the end of the race.
As we are about to start our penultimate lap, Josh Moment in the lead, followed by Fernando, then Estacy. They are running out of time if Estacy wants to take a victory here, but it's looking like BHR is putting up a fight as we go back for the battle for P4. Left still able to stay ahead of VKG and Papa, both pushing, both low on fuel, and look at Papa's front right. That looks like a struggle. VKG going for the move round the outside, but I don't think he's going to have it. This is going to let Papa back through up into P5 potentially as we go back on board with our leaders as they are about to start the final lap. Josh Moment, then Estacy. Estacy able to get ahead of Fernando. Fernando in just trying to finish the race in damage control mode. Finishing P3 would be excellent. He is 13 seconds ahead of VKG. So Still going from last to third, an excellent result. But Estes now around the outside, he is pushing. They are on the back straight, wheel to wheel. Josh Moment will have the inside. Can Estes do anything around the outside, carrying a little bit of overspeed? He's got a little bit of a wiggle. He's going to cut back in. This could be it. Around the outside again, into the wall. And he has to tuck back in. And Josh Moment is going to take the win of this race, followed by SSC, then Fernando B. And look at this, we got another drag race further back. BKG left, Papa, they're going 3 wide across the line. Who is going to be in P4? That is BKG in P4, left in P5, Papa in P6. Incredible finish. Metal P7 and Better Dan to cross the line. Holy smokes. 3 abreast across the line there for P4, Tussum.
Yeah, I think like 6 of those drivers crossed the line with absolutely no fuel.
That was an incredible finish as we look here at these race results, and Salamander doing his job, saving that replay. Way to go. We have BHR Josh Moment in the lead, winning this race. Then we have PHG SSC bringing it to a Viper 1-2. Then BHR Fernando B in the Ford in P3. VKG doing well up into P4 with the Viper. Then left in P5, giving us that great finish. Papa with the fastest lap in P6, also in the Viper. And surprise, surprise, Corvette doing a P7, P8 there with Metal and Vetterdan. Woo! That well, that was something.